Howdy, folks. It's your good friend Cowboy Crone. Pew, 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 pew. That's my last name, with a K. Now, it's actually an interesting story, but that's not what we're here for today. So, this video is about why do people keep saying racist things to me? And it's kind of funny because they always say it like this. Well, I'm not a racist, but here's where I agree with racist things. So, anytime you hear that somebody is about to say something racist that they know is racist, but they're like, I agree with this, but I'm not racist. So, that's a little weird. Seems a little loony, but people have been doing that to me a lot. And it's really actually crazy because, it's not only white people. It's basically all the races are saying racist things against black people. And that's weird. That's weird, right? Because here's the thing, I don't agree with that. If anybody has any reason to have a negative idea or negative spirit about black people, you would think it would be me. Why? Well, let me tell you all the things that people who happen to be black did to me. I remember when I was a kid, I got chased down the street by a bunch of black people, by a bunch of people who happen to be black, basically. And like 4 or 5 of them. And here's more. I got one time this black guy was calling me a chink, okay? I said to him, he just kept calling me a chink over and over and over and over. And I said to him, listen, you wouldn't like it if I called you a nigga. And guess what? He didn't like it, and then he assaulted me. First he started smacking me in the face while calling me chink. And then he basically assaulted me after that. It's actually a really funny story, but that's gonna be on the TV show. Another time, basically when I was in high school, a guy who happened to be black was like, fag, fag, over and over and over for the whole school year. Finally, he was in my face, I pushed him, then he threw me into some trash cans. Okay? I've been robbed 3 times by people who happen to be black. 2 of them at gunpoint. Okay? And one time, when I was a kid, they just walked up to me and stole my Game Boy. Just right out of my hands. Like, okay. Here's a good one. And these are all just the maximum highlights. Here's a good one. I was delivering pizzas, went to a house. 3 people who happened to be black jumped out of the bushes, started spraying me with some acid. Right in my face. Trying to rob me. Now, I didn't include that because they didn't get anything. So, I didn't include that as getting robbed. But still, come on. I'm getting sprayed in the face by acid. Now, if anybody has a reason to be racist, it would be me from all those experiences, right? But here's the thing. When I was a kid, I saw roots. When I was a young kid, I saw roots. So, because of that, I went out of my way. Knowing the history, I went out of my way to give black people a huge amount of leeway. And so I don't say, you know what, a black person did this to me. Now, I might have said that in the beginning inadvertently, but I don't say that this is how black people act. I don't say black people rob me, black people rob, black people steal, and all this stuff. I don't say that because I'm not a racist, because that's why I kept saying people who happen to be black. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's not how black people act. Because to me, what I've seen is they're real kind. But I guess it all depends on who you're looking for. That's the thing. And you know what? If I was racist about anything, when in my 20s, I was just blaming everything on white people. I was like, well, white people this and white people that, and this is why, blah, 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 blah. So if I was racist about anything, it would be white. But I'm 50% white, so I guess that's not really racism, right? Of course, 50% white doesn't mean white for some reason. Otherwise, Obama would be white. But he's not. Or people don't think of him like that. Which is weird. That's why it's dumb. Because here's the fact of the matter. There's no such thing as white people or black people. Because black is an absence of color. White is the most colored. So, in fact, they actually have it wrong. And nobody is pitch black. And nobody is, like, paper white. We're all various shades of brown and pink. So, black and white, that's a misnomer. Seems like it's just being used to divide. But, yes, so I saw Roots, and yeah, I blamed them. But here's the facts of the matter. The reason why I would blame anybody is because I wasn't taking responsibility. So I was like, it was easy to blame black or white people because I was like, I believe that this is why I'm being kept down. White people. But it's not. It's not. It's not white people at all. Now here's the thing. Most people who are racist, or all those people who are saying, I'm not racist, but here's a racist comment that I agree with, but I'm not racist. Those type of people, they're not actually racist. So they're being tricked into it. So how are they being tricked? Well, here's how it is. It's the media. That's the predominant factor. One of them. So what the media does is, with what's going on in the world, black people, innocent people being killed by the authority, and they're saying this is not right, this is not fair. And then what happens is that the media is convincing, a certain media is convincing the people who watch it that, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal that this is happening, when it's a huge deal. And then what they do is the black people are getting frustrated, then they get angry, they lash out, and then that same media that said it's no big deal, they're doing it on purpose. So they say it's no big deal to incite, and then when the people start tripping because they're frustrated, they say, see, look at them. Look at them, further dividing everything. Now, here's the thing. Then when that happens, it gets put on the media, on the news, right? And the news shows black people doing things, and then it's condensed, and then they repeat it over and over. So it gives people the perception that black people are doing all these things. Then that compounded with the media that profits off of ghetto mentality, which is disrespect and irresponsibility. So what happens is the ghetto mentality, people go around that are black, and then they just go around being real disrespectful to everyone because they're frustrated. Or, well, yeah, they play the music of the ghetto mentality, which is basically black people disrespecting black people, being real negative, and basically being racist against black people. So, why do people keep saying racist things? Well, because it's very simple. The way that the media is portraying black people, and then the way that black people act. Now, not all of them. Now, I called it the ghetto mentality. So what does that mean? Perfect story. Growing up, lived in a city, lots of black people. I would listen to the way that they interact. And always disrespecting, talking smack. You know, always disrespecting, non-stop disrespect. And guess what? I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was so funny to disrespect people the way that they were doing it. So what I did was I took that, what I observed, that it was so hilarious, everybody in the city disrespecting each other in hilarious manners. I took that and then I started to talk smack and disrespect people for pleasure. So I'm going around, here's what happens. I was going around disrespecting people for pleasure, and then people had a negative connotation about me. And then I was indoctrinated to believe that it's not my fault. Irresponsibility. So then I would be like, why don't people like me? Well, I don't understand why people don't like me. Why are they saying things about me? Well, it's because of things that I was doing. And you can't deny it. Here's the facts of the matter. Lots of black people say that they want to get rid of racism, right? They want racism to be over, but they don't want to lead by example, which means that, so here's a good example. There was this older black guy that I was friends with, and I would do all this stuff for him, take him out to eat and stuff because I was trying to help him out. Plus, I like talking to him, right? And so one day he asked me to borrow a lot of money, and I said I didn't know because I had just quit my job. And what he did was he got mad, kept stewing, kept calling me every couple weeks or months or whatever. And finally, he called me a black N. Remember, this guy's a black guy. He called me a black N-ger, not the N-ga, because I wouldn't give him money. And I was so shocked. Because in our conversations, he would always try to impress upon me about the struggle of the African American community. He would let me read books about the civil rights movement and things like that. And then when he didn't get his way, now all of a sudden he's being racist about black people to me. And people see that. People see black people going around being racist to black people, but I guess they don't think that it's racism because they're black. So being racist to your own race is not racist. And then white people see that. In fact, everybody sees it. And then they say, what are they complaining about? They're doing it to each other. So what's the big deal? What's the big deal if we do it? Here's a good example. Oh my goodness, black people are getting killed by the cops, right? Oh my goodness, this is so terrible. Then blasting down the street is some rap song where they're saying that how they're gonna kill an N real quick. And if you don't know what N means, they're basically blasting this music that's saying racist things about their own race, about how they're going to kill a black person real quick. And then they want to be like, white people. That's the big thing. You gotta lead by example. To get this fixed, you can't be a hypocrite. You can't be a hypocrite going around being racist to your own race and then expect people to, be like, yeah. Like, what kind of message is that sending? It sends a terrible message. And the worst part about it is, there's a ghetto mentality. And it's not just... Basically, a ghetto mentality is this. It's disrespect, finding pleasure in disrespecting each other, and then not taking responsibility. And so here's what happened. Black people were held down for a really long time. And then what they did was they were tricked, just like a lot of people, into this is a dog-eat-dog world. Climb up everybody's back, push everybody down. So in the ghetto, what they do is this finding pleasure from disrespect. The finding pleasure from disrespect is pushing each other down while you're trying to climb each other's backs. And the worst part about it is there's a media that makes lots of money from keeping black people down. So when a black person gets out of the streets, they have sick raps with dope beats. They rap about what's going on in the street, and then they just don't care about the struggle that's going on with black people. And so while they're getting rich, the media is also getting rich, profiting off of that. And then everybody's going around, finding pleasure in the way of thinking is what it becomes, because that's what I did. So I was real frustrated when I was a kid. I listened to gangsta rap, and guess what? It will make me feel better because I wanted to disrespect people. I wanted to make excuses. And then that became a way that I thought. So they're saying, oh, we wonder if music can influence people. I can tell you for one thing, and I'm not the only one, it influenced the heck out of me. And guess what? The ghetto mentality of finding pleasure in disrespect, that's the path to failure. And then they just blame everybody else. That's what I did. Blamed everybody else. Not my fault. I don't even know why people don't like me or why I can't get ahead. Well, it's because of that type of attitude. Now, so that's the media from the entertainment. And then, like I said, a lot of black people are the example that they show is reinforcing the negative stereotypes. So black entertainment and black music, certain ones of it, is reinforcing the negative stereotypes from the media that this is the way that black people act. And then people then say racist things about them because they see it on the news that now a black person did this or blah, 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 blah. And then it gets reinforced by, they hear the music, real violent and putting black people down and then they interact with some black people and they got a big attitude. And here's the thing, I'm not the only one who's seen this ghetto culture. There are black people who have told me about it, but they didn't realize it. And they were wondering why they're not successes in life. And then, so what they would do is, I don't like to talk smack anymore. And that's what I used to do all the time. But it's real bad to do that. So I would tell them, you know what, calling me a B or cursing at me just for fun, they always say, oh, that's a joke, that's a joke. What they mean is, be a negative to people, they're finding pleasure in it. And then black people have iterated this to me a bunch of times, that, well, this is what they do on the street. So you're saying that putting each other down is what they do on the street, and then it's white people's fault. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We gotta start leading by example because, so here's what happens. Every time black culture, the negative one that just disrespects each other and so on and so forth, is being used by the media to convince people, and also the media when they show the news of what the people who happen to be black do, crimes and stuff. All those things combined, then people start saying racist things about their own race. And then what they do is it gets proven whenever black people start saying racist things about black people. So this is the big problem. Now, I said that most people who say basically most people aren't really actually racist. But there is this, basically there are people in power, and they want to stay in power, and to keep everything divided, what they do is they're making black people look like they're crazy lunatics. And black people aren't helping it either, because they prove it. So someone said to me about black people, and they're like, look at the way that they act. And then they said, driving down the street, they're saying all this evil, negative things about their own race. And then that's how it gets, that basically absolves them of stereotyping. It doesn't even make any sense. Honestly, why would the old black guy who tried to impress upon me the struggles call me a black N when he's mad? Come on. It doesn't even make any sense. So here's the thing. Here's the facts of the matter. The people trying to stay in power, they're trying to incite, like I said, and what they do is they say, look at how they're acting. Look at how they're acting. So everybody's frustrated, that this isn't fair, and then they say, look at how they're acting whenever people start tripping. Well, here's the facts of the matter. This is why Malcolm X, that would have never worked. It would have never worked. You know who worked Martin Luther King? I'll tell you a story. My grandma. Well, she wasn't really my grandma, but here's the thing. She was adopted, and she was more like a grandma than my real grandma, who I basically only saw like a few times. But she told me the story about the march in Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. And she saw on the news that they were so peaceful. And she was white, real white. Or not real white, I don't even know what that means, but she was white. And then she saw on the news them peacefully protesting and then having the dog sicked on them and getting beat up. And that's when she knew it was wrong. Now, she knew it was wrong before, but she didn't know the extent of it. So, for example, what that means is that right now, the media, well, if they're twisting it, the people who are watching it are definitely not going to know the extent of it. All they're going to see is, for example, if they did the opposite of Martin Luther King, if they did Malcolm X, it would just be, the way it would be viewed is the black people are fighting with the white people, because who knows who really started it? Probably the black people, because look how they're acting. And then nothing would have ever changed. But she said she saw them be peaceful, and then what happened was she knew that was wrong. Wrong. What was going on? But here's the thing. If they would have fought the police instead of getting beat up and getting bit by the dogs and getting hosed down, she would not have known instantly that was wrong, because boom, clouded. Now we don't know who started it. Basically, everybody has their ideas or whatever. That's why it's real important that, you know what? If we want this to finally be finished, what we need to do is have a higher standard. And that standard is to not be hypocrites, where we say, listen, I can be racist, but you can't. Because that's stupid. That's the stupidest thing that I ever heard of. Listen, we could call each other the N-word, but you can't. Well, that sounds like a bunch of bullcrap. That sounds like a bunch of people who don't want racism to go anywhere, because they're basically saying, you know what, we can be racist, but you can't. Well, that sounds like a bunch of bullcrap to me. Because what happens is, then negative stereotypes get justified, because they say, yeah, they do it to each other, and they just want to complain, basically. They want to cry about innocent people getting shot by the cops. A guy just drove by, and in the rap song it was like, I'm gonna kill black people. And you expect that they're supposed to take you guys seriously. Honestly, it's not gonna work like that. And what's gonna happen? Now we're gonna start rioting, and we're gonna give the media more evidence that it's us. That media is already making excuses why it's no big deal. So we're gonna give them evidence and show them that it's us. Listen, it's bad enough there's enough evidence that they can prove that black people are racist to black people, and then it's bad enough. So you guys don't have to prove it. Come on. If anything's gonna change, well, that's why people keep saying racist things to me. And I'll say them all the things again. People keep saying racist things to me because they see black people doing stuff in the news, and then also combined with the ghetto attitude of taking pleasure from disrespect, combined with the certain media, black media, entertainment, basically being racist to black people. And all of those things are why people keep on saying racist things about black people. And it's as simple as that. And they're being tricked into believing that by what they see. So are they really being tricked? Well, yeah, they're still being tricked because, like I said, all those things that happened to me, I don't blame black people. But here's the thing, not everybody thinks like that. In fact, there are black people who blame black people. And they're black. So something's got to change. We can fix this right now. It's real simple. It's a real simple thing. Don't give the people who are against you ammunition by acting in a way in which is hypocritical or acting in a way in which they can blame you and say, see, look. Because that's a trick to divide. So unless something changes, I mean, like I said, you know, after Montgomery, what happened was that the news showing the what happened in Montgomery, Alabama, that is what helped the Civil Rights Act of 1969, I think, push it through. Because people really supported it now. And it would have never happened if they were doing the Malcolm X thing, where they were blowing stuff up, attacking people, so on and so forth. Because that does not work at all. In fact, it doesn't work so much that Malcolm X was assassinated by his own people. So what would happen is, listen, here's what would happen if there was a semblance of it working what Malcolm X was prescribing, violence to and terrorism. Here's what would happen. What would happen is that if they got what they wanted, then they would have turned on each other. So they turned on Malcolm X. And here's the thing. That's the big problem. Instead of moving towards all coming together to unite for a cause towards something, the only time we ever unite is against something. But that's failure. So that's what terrorism is. It's to unite against something. You know, violence as a solution, it's to unite against something. What Martin Luther King was trying to do is we're trying to unite for something, towards a goal. Because what happens is when enemies get together for a, unite against something, whenever that's gone, they become enemies again. And they fight. So we got to change our attitude. If we want to be successful, we got to do these things. Responsibility and respect. Because irresponsibility and disrespect is the ghetto attitude of dog eat dog world, climb each other's up each other's backs, push each other down, spread negativity around. And then when that happens, that's why everybody in the ghetto is so like unmotivated and like so they don't have energy to do anything positive. Because being disrespectful to each other, believe it or not, it takes a lot of energy to do that. It takes a lot of energy to go around being disrespectful to everybody, spreading around negativity. If I'm negative to you, basically you're going to be negative to me. Now we're both negative, and then I'm wasting all my energy trying to be top your negativity. And then when it's all said and done, now I just want to get high or go drink. Or basically zone out. Because now I'm tired, I'm unmotivated. Listen, if we want to end racism, we have to lead by example. And then what we got to do is we can become successes. Everybody in the ghetto. In fact, that's what I'm getting ready to prove in Harrisburg. Just a simple change of mind. Empowerment. You know what? I'm going to start taking responsibility. It's nobody's fault but my own. And what we're going to do is change the fault into empowerment by taking responsibility. Change our attitude. And then what we're going to do is we're going to respect each other. And guess what? When we do that, instead of everybody pushing each other down in the ghetto because because a bunch of people at the top made it real hard and then convinced everybody in the ghetto to dog eat dog world and to keep each other down. That's basically the big scam. That's the big scam. The big scam is that convinced to keep each other down in the ghetto and then to blame them for doing it. Well, then all we got to do is stop believing them. Stop taking pleasure in disrespecting each other. Okay? How about we have some respect and start bringing each other up? Then we can really overcome. Now, if we don't change, and then everybody wants to keep on being racist to each other, saying that, you know what, I'm allowed to be racist because it's my race. Well, that's stupid. So that's the worst type of racism of all. Because you guys are just keeping each other down with that attitude. Or what we can do is we can do what Martin Luther King did, what Jesus Christ wants us to do, and change our attitude. That way we can overcome the people at the top tricking us into not changing anything so that we just argue and then they blame us. I mean, there's really two options. So that's why people keep saying racist things. Now, are we ever going to get rid of racism? Well, people are always going to make excuses and blame somebody. It doesn't even have to be about race. People do it all the time. Race is just something that's easy to do. But the real problem is the irresponsibility, blaming others. But when whatever they're listening to is giving them a bunch of excuses as to why it's you guys, the black people, or basically everybody else, I don't know, or any color, well, then we just fell into the trap, the trick, to keep each other down with a bad attitude. Successful people, they have good attitudes. Well, unless you're the successful person where you get out of the ghetto, you rap about your experiences to reinforce a negative way of thinking, and then that person's getting all the money, and then also the people who are trying to keep you down, you just give them all the money. And then what ends up happening? A famous rapper was asked, what about black people getting killed by the cops? And you know what he basically said? That's not my problem. And he's one of the most famous rappers. How is it not your problem? Because, you got this O.J. Simpson mentality when now you're out of the ghetto and you got money, so you think you still act the same way, but people treat you differently because now you got money. And so now you think that where you came from, that's not your problem. But he's profiting off of convincing people to be negative to each other, to keep each other down. That seems like the most racist of all. Because that's what racism is. I'm better than you. I'm going to convince you to just be negative to each other. And I can prove I'm better because I got money and you guys are still down. And he just doesn't care. Like, that was the most ridiculous interview that I've ever seen. And what makes it worse is I like his music. But I mean, still. That's the big trick. Yeah, but here's the thing. I can separate that. The reason why is because I don't know. I'm not making excuses for it. That's how it gets separated. Like, I'm not saying, it's A-okay. Listen, I can be a racist to other whatever the heck I am, but you can't be racist to me. Yeah. So that's dumb. Nothing will ever change like that. Like I said, we can fix it real quick. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So everybody praying that things would change. That's what we're going to do. And you know how I know it is because Jesus Christ told me so. It doesn't have to be like this. It's really simple stuff. But here's the thing. We have this idea that they should start first and we should never start. So they should stop being racist and we should just keep on allowing to do it. Well, no wonder this hasn't been fixed by now. Something to think about, folks. Something to think about. Like I said, the media portraying, showing what black people do, or what people who happen to be black do, and then repeating it over and over, combined with whenever those same people go out on the street, they hear all of this negativeness and all of this disrespect, and then they also hear it in the entertainment, and then it gets dismissed. So maybe that's why people are saying it's no big deal. It's no big deal that innocent people are getting killed by the police. Why? Because look at the type. It's no big deal that black people are getting killed by the police, because look at how they act towards each other. Like I said, the reason why I'm even doing this video now is because someone who's not black, or not white, I mean, told me this, that, and then they're driving by blasting the music. The music is saying real racist things against black people. Black people blasting music saying real racist things about black people. And then the hypocrisy, oh, we can do that, but you can't. Well, no wonder nothing's changing. I keep repeating it over and over. But the solution is, ghetto is an attitude. If you want to overcome all these tricks to getting tricked and stuff, start being empowered by some responsibility. And then that way, start lifting each other up instead of pushing each other down. And then what's going to happen is they won't be able to use disrespect and irresponsibility against you because you're not doing it anymore. And it's as simple as that. And then boom, what are they going to say? A bunch of more excuses. Who cares? Because now you're empowered by responsibility to become successful. And I know this because that's what Jesus Christ is all about. He wants you to be successful, but it ain't going to happen doing the opposite of all these things. It's just not going to happen. And yeah, we get it. What the media that is convincing you to keep yourself down. The lyrics are so sick and the beat is so dope. I mean, what do you want me to say? I got tricked too by that. And then for like 20 or for like almost 14, 15 years, just like repeating the lyrics in my head. And people do it all the time. I know people who are popping pills, opiates, they love the parts of the rap music that justify the way that they want to think. Popping pills, doing drugs, being disrespectful, all these things. But that's wrong. It becomes a way of thinking. You're keeping yourself down. I keep on repeating it over and over. I hope I got this. I hope I got the message across. Be responsible. Find out ways that you can do it, and then be respectful. Then we're all going to unite, and then what's going to happen is we're going to change things. It's as simple as that. It really is. Because, well, if anything proves anything, Martin Luther King, what he did, what they did, that was the proof. And for some reason, now some black people are like, yeah, it didn't work, blah, blah, blah. But you can't just do it one time and then expect it to be done. It would be like, I mowed the grass last week. Why do I gotta keep mowing the grass? I did it once already. Well, I mean, things need to be maintained and stuff like that. And we can't give up. Because I promise you, Martin Luther King, that worked. That worked 100%. And he got the job done. And he gave up his life for it. And a lot of people gave up their life for it. And they got it done. They did. They got it done. So anybody who's trying to say that they didn't, well, they're confused. But here's the facts of the matter. We're going all the way this time. So think about what I'm saying. I'm going to be here more often. And guess what? You got a friend in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's going to take it all the way. I just want to say it. Just want to say it to you again. Because this is the state where liberty started. And here's the thing. If you love liberty and justice, then you're an honorary Pennsylvanian too. I like to say that. But here's the thing. United States. We're going to get ready to move the mountain. Things are going to get ready to change. That's what this is all about. So keep up the good work. Be kind to each other. Let's start trying to lift each other up instead of bringing each other down. Then when we do that, We're gonna move the mountain. We're gonna take it all the way. I promise that. And you know how I know? Because good old-fashioned Jesus Christ told me so. So I'll see you in the next video.